Well, hello everyone, and welcome in. Welcome into the Six Screens Tele Network. Well, my name's Rick Farron. I'm so glad you're with us tonight. And of course, I got my wife Susan right next to me right here. Hello, Susan.
Hello, everyone.
Well, we really missed you guys since last week. Our program's taken off like a rocket, so we're really happy about that. And a lot of good things are really happening for us here. We're moving in the right direction. We're getting more and more friends, and everything is looking really good. And I hope things are good where you are too. And we've got a program here coming up tonight. It's called Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. And you might have seen a little promo that we put up this week. Quite good. It was AI generated. Yeah, in fact, it was all AI generated, and it really was good. We got a lot of attention, and a lot of people really liked it. So you probably saw that we were advertising Anne Marie's program. So Anne Marie, are you with us?
I'm right here, my brother.
All right, Anne Marie. So did you get to see that video we did? The old promo for your show.
Oh, that was great.
Well,
that was really well done.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it really was. We're getting a lot of buzz on that. Of course, AI is good for creating certain videos and what have you, but that really depicted, well, it showed we couldn't go into a whole lot of detail, but we're going to be doing promos for each program that we have on the six screens, but they can only be about a minute long. So that was good. At least we were able to get that up and let you at least get your program some attention. So, Anne-Marie, what you going to be talking about tonight?
Relationships outside of the Watchtower.
Well, now that sounds pretty good. Now, you mean when you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses, having a relationship?
No, outside, after we left.
Oh.
Relationships outside of the Watchtower. In other words, how has being a believer in the Watchtower with the fake friends and the hypocrisy and the judgment, the snobbery, the gossip, how has being a believer in the Watchtower, a faithful witness, affected your ability to establish and to have healthy relationships once you walked away from the Watchtower belief system? So relationships outside of the Watchtower. I know I was messed up.
Wow, my goodness, Anne Marie. Well, I'll tell you what, you got off to a bad start with the witnesses, according to that little promo that we played. So, I mean, it never was a cakewalk for you in the Jehovah's Witness religion, right?
No, I tried to make it a cakewalk. I was always smiling. I even got gossip about because I smiled so much.
Well, you couldn't do anything right. All right, well, let's cut you loose.
Nope.
But Susan and I are here if you need us. And so let's bring you on. Here's Anne Marie with her Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower program. Thank you, Anne Marie.
Well, thank you, my brother. Thank you, my sister Susan. Susan's with you, isn't she?
Right here, yeah.
I'm right here.
Right here, yeah.
Oh, I love my sister.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Anne.
my
I love
brother.
you back.
I'm a lucky woman. Oh, I want to welcome everyone in. Guess what? It is Six Screen Sunday. Six Screen Saturday again. And are we not blessed? Because we get to live in freedom from the clutches of a very powerful, dictatorial, mind control, mean cult. Today is August 22nd, 2026, and this is the show Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. And we all were, and I know I say it all the time, but I want to welcome everybody. Oh my God, I think of all of you, and I just smile, and I pray for you, and I think of all of you, what you're dealing with, your struggles, what you've been through. I want to welcome the PMQs, always the PMQs, because they're not PMEs. They're not totally mind taken over, heads up the Watchtower control people's behind, and they're not the PMOs. They're not completely mentally out. They're still in the Watchtower, physically in, mentally out, but they've done the research. They don't have questions really because they already know the answers. because they've done the research, and that takes a lot of courage. But they stay in because they don't want to lose their children, their wife, their husband, their grandparents, their friends, and they're hoping to help others come out. But we on the outside are lucky because we have a lot of PMO elders that share really important information with Rick and others that do shows on YouTube. Want to welcome my entire Six Screens family. You have no idea how much I love you all. And as always, please remember, this is your show. I do have a theme, but bottom line, if something's on your mind and you want to share it, please feel free. This is the safe place. I want to give a shout out for anyone who might be relatively new, maybe listening for a while. Maybe they've never chimed in before. And I know it can feel kind of scary and you can feel nervous. I want you to feel and know that you are welcome. And when I ask your name, I don't expect you to give me your legal name and your address and your phone number. I just want to know what to call you. Call yourself Shirley. Call yourself Cinderella. Call yourself Big Bob or Mr. Magoo. Anything you want that you feel comfortable with, just let me know, please. Hey, I'm a new caller. I'd like to comment. So I know, okay, I will listen and I will validate and I will understand anything you have to share or ask. Today's theme is relationships after and outside of the Watchtower. How has being a believer in the Watchtower, a faithful witness, dealing with everybody, sister book bag, brother elder, sister elderite, it basically, we didn't know it, but there was a lot of fakeness going on because everybody was on. You had to project that theocratic attitude and that spiritual mature attitude. And it really did take a toll on us. So in relationships outside of the Watchtower, again, the question is, how has being a believer in Watchtower, a faithful witness, affected your ability to establish and to have healthy relationships once you walked away from the Watchtower belief system? And, a lot of us had issues. I know I did, because we were really stunted emotionally and especially socially. A lot of us didn't have social skills. We were needy. We had issues. But anyway, aside from all that, just want to give you guys what I want to talk about. But again, as always, this is your show, and I'm here to listen to anyone who wants to chime in. Anybody wants to chime in, just hit *6. And guess what? I'll be listening, honey. Anybody want to chime in? *6. Okay, there are some issues. When I came out of Watchtower, well, first when I was in Watchtower, I only had my little children to deal with. I didn't really have friends. I didn't have a car. I didn't have any break time, any time for me where I could kind of go off and have some time to myself. So I looked to the meetings as a place where I could relax because I was among my brothers and sisters, and I would be so happy, and I'd be smiling and saying hello to everybody and how are you? And, the reputation got around that I was a ditz. I was a blonde, a ditzy blonde, because I'm a natural blonde, believe it or not. And, because I was so happy. And they just said, oh, she just looks at the world through rose-colored glasses, and she's so immature, and all she does is laugh and smile, because I was happy, just like I was happy at the conventions, at the district conventions, because I felt like I was blessed to be among my brothers and sisters. And that got criticized, gossiped about. And the other thing is, I'd say hello to a sister, and if she was married, she'd get all nervous because husband didn't like their wives associating with a single sister, because the single sister would be looking for a man, and it could cause trouble. Single sisters should be with single sisters. And if I said hello to a brother, if he was married, he'd get all nervous, like, oh, I shouldn't talk to you, my wife will get upset. If I talked and said hello to a single brother, they think that I was trying to put my claws into them. It's like I couldn't win for losing. But, I tried to take it all in stride because I was happy. My nature is to be happy and loving and, focused on the other person. How are you? I always was very sincere. And, well, it was hard. So when I came out of Watchtower, that's when, in trying to learn how to interact with normal people, it became clear to me that I was like a fish out of water. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to engage in normal conversation. And I think you guys have heard me mention several times I was invited to a small dinner party, and I'm sitting there at the dinner table with very educated people, and they were talking about just life and things going on in the world, and they were obviously very well educated. And I was sitting there thinking, I do not know how to be part of this conversation. And I was smiling and I'm thinking, I got to think of something. So I finally thought of one simple thing to say that I thought was appropriate. And the lady sitting on my left looked at me, and it wasn't mean. She wasn't being a snob. She wasn't putting me down. She wasn't being condescending. She just looked at me kind of puzzled. And she said, no, Anne Marie, you don't look like you're stupid, but you kind of are, aren't you? And that hit me so hard because I realized he was right. I had no social skills. I didn't know about decorum or etiquette or simple social mores. It took me a while, and I still realize when I'm around normal people, I have a problem. And another problem with a lot of people that come out of Watchtower, especially if they've been in a while, we're so beat down. If you have low self-esteem, it's hard for you to have confidence in yourself. A lot of us had a lot of lack of self-worth, lack of self-confidence. We had trust issues. And one thing I think we all were in need of was that need for approval. A lot of us had anxiety. What do I say? Do I look right? Do I look stupid? Am I saying the right thing? It's, just worrying how others thought of you and worrying about being judged, because we're so aware if we're having a lack of self-confidence and unsure of ourselves, we're going to be so super sensitive to any judgment. Every look is a judgment. Every comment is a judgment, because we just feel so, we don't really have confidence in ourselves, and we feel vulnerable. And definitely, again, the lack of social skills, that is pitiful. Sometimes we're so starved, especially the sisters, when they come out and leave Watchtower, they're so starved for attention and love that they become easy prey, because there are guys who are like, oh, she's needy, and he'll turn on the charm and do whatever. And next thing she knows, she's up in cloud nine thinking, oh, wow, somebody's paying attention to me. Somebody told me I was beautiful. Somebody told me he likes the way I laugh, And the more you get compliments, especially when you're not used to ever getting a compliment, you can get sucked in to a predator who's just looking for a easy, ride to get with her and maybe move into her house and start abusing her and her kids. It's just scary. So, just being needy is a scary thing. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. The subject again is relationships outside of the Watchtower. How was being a believer, interacting with all the other Jehovah's Witnesses? They always want you to only really be close to other Watchtowerites. How was being a believer in the Watchtower, a faithful witness, doing the Watchtower two-step, not smiling that theocratic smile? How did it affect your ability to establish and to have a healthy relationship once you walked away from the Watchtower belief system? I still struggle with it. How about any of you? Anybody have a thought, comment, or anything on your mind, star 6?
Yeah, Anne Marie, how you doing tonight?
Well, hello, Mr. Borgie. How are you?
I'm rocking.
You gonna laugh at me some more? Huh?
I I would never
There
laugh
you
at
go. There you go. Okay.
Never
What is
laugh
it, my
at you.
brother?
Matter of fact,
You
I
always
think you're
bring up
quite
good stuff.
a brilliant woman, to be honest with you. I think you handle yourself outstandingly.
Oh, pile it on me. I need more approval. That's so sweet of you, Dick. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I was just thinking, some of the things you were just talking about, it's not any Jehovah's Witnesses' fault if they're not comfortable in society. Because first of all, you're taught that everybody that's not a Jehovah's Witness is controlled by Satan the devil. So you get that against you. Then the Jehovah's Witness organization doesn't want you to go to college. So you get that against you. And you don't listen to the news because it doesn't matter. Armageddon's coming. So whatever kind of legislation's going down in Congress or whatever, you don't really care because you're only focused on Armageddon coming. You've got a lot of things going against you. You really do. You have those three things that I just alluded to. And also you cut your ties with kids you went to high school with, kids you went to college with. You cut your ties with them. And then if you try to go back, well, they resent it because you told them Armageddon was coming and it didn't. They think you're a self-righteous hypocrite, so they don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. So you've got a lot of things going against you. In that regard. So feeling uncomfortable out in society or in the workplace, it's not your fault. It's the fault of you becoming a Jehovah's Witnesses, listening to their rhetoric and believing in it. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Enjoy yourself.
Oh, thank you, Dick Borgie. Is Constance around?
Hi, Anne-Marie.
Oh, my God. Who's that?
I'm just having something to eat for dinner, honey, but I'm here listening to
Are
your
you
show.
going to share? Oh,
I think it's a great topic, sweetheart. Yeah, I'll wait a little bit more and I'll share an experience after I'm done eating.
Good. Are you in North Carolina?
South, honey. South Carolina.
Oh, I'm so dyslexic. I always get things backwards. Well,
Just in south of the border. Think of it like south of the border. So it's South Carolina. Think of it that way, Emery. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
We are in the northern part of South Carolina.
Are you trying to confuse me?
It's a place called Easley, South Carolina. It's kind of tucked away. We're pretty close to the North Carolina border, and we're also close to the Tennessee border. We're stuck in a corner.
Yeah. Confuse me some more. You know I'm dyslexic and ADD on crack. Yeah, see, you're laughing at me again. I know how you are.
Well, I got to tell you, we're on the western side of South Carolina.
Ball. Keep it up, Dick. Keep it up.
Love you, girl. See you later.
I'm glad you chimed in, my brother. Anybody would like to comment? How was your relationship situation once you left the Watchtower? It's a whole new ball game. *6, otherwise, because I can't think of any more crazy stories. But I know I was in trouble. Yes, ma'am.
I think socially for the born-ins, it starts even if you excel and you're an A student and a good-looking boy or girl in school and popular. For the born-ins, it starts with the flag salute issue. Because you could be the most popular person in the classroom, and the fact that you're not saluting that flag puts a behavior problem between you and the teacher you're excelling with. And your classmates.
Right.
And this Even if you did everything right in the small town, the classroom, the students, the fact that the Watchtower organization has told those children not to do that, they become outsiders immediately.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But Pixie, as far as the theme of the show goes, can you share, if you do have anything that you can think of, can you share how different your relationships were once you came out of the Watchtower and running your own life, you know, instead of everybody telling you?
Although I had the real advantage, like if I had a question, you've heard me say I could go to the library.
Yeah.
I could also go to the lady that ran the corner store. Way
to go.
I had that village where before air conditioning, the neighbors on the porch knew every kid. Okay? So I had a community, whereas if the witness child is homeschooled, they don't have that. If they live in the country and they're homeschooled, they're at a real disadvantage.
No doubt. You are so correct.
Even leaving, going to university, having coursework in communication. Maybe that was my unconscious telling me I need to communicate better. But even having coursework in communications, socially, I always have had that outsider thing. I've always had it, even if I've tried to compensate for it, because I was a little too sophisticated for Kingdom Hall, and then when I got out into the big world, I didn't know how to drink and party with people. I think that's ridiculous, the way the students would overdrink and socialize. I was in the library, I had close friends, but I'll never quite be a worldly person either. Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, kind of. But I stopped seeing people as worldly or not worldly. But I understand exactly what you're saying, Pixie. And, you know, the fact that you went to university, you were interacting with what I call normal people, whether they're wacko or weird or mean or kind or generous or fun. You're interacting with real people. And you went to the library, and I love the library. I mean, you can just look at all those books and think how much knowledge is in that books, and somebody wrote those books, and what's between those two pages of the covers. And you have such a bright mind, and I'm so glad you did that. Because, God, if you'd stayed in Watchtower, it would have really messed you up.
Well, also, when you're in the library, always look at a section you don't normally look at, just to see what's there. And the business books will help you to communicate with other people. The etiquette books will help you to know what to say in any situation. It's okay to memorize what to say. It's okay when you go to somebody's house to say, you have a beautiful home, and at the end say, thank you so much for inviting me. You can memorize those things. You don't have to ad lib on stuff.
Right. Just basic social mores and decorum, like you just said. You can, you know, like when you are invited to a dinner, you bring flowers, a bottle of wine. You ask the hostess who invited you, what can I bring? Not can I bring anything? It's what can I bring? That's saying you want to. You know, there's so many subtleties that a lot of people don't get. Go ahead.
Even if you can't afford that, you could bring fun paper napkins from a dollar store. It doesn't have to be anything sophisticated or $25 flowers. Just the fact that you show up at the person's house with something and say hello.
With something. Thank you. That is the whole point, Pixie. You do not, social mores dictate that if you are invited somewhere, you do not show up empty-handed.
That's right.
Something, a Jell-O mold, something that says, I respect. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought that out.
But I think that for most of us, even if we excel or try to learn to communicate, I think for the born-ins, it's always going to be awkward because
Yes.
we don't have, Linda James and I talked about this years ago, the record of experts in psychology. They say, okay, well, how long were you in that high control group? Oh, well, you were there from 15 on. Well, what did you like or who you were before that? The born-in has nothing to go back to. So,
No reference point. Yeah.
right. So all of us have an understanding of each other, and it always seems like, again, it's that big worldly world, you know. That's what it seems like. Even if you do it well, you're going to have feelings of imposter syndrome no matter how much you've excelled in it.
Oh, imposter syndrome. Pixie, you bring out.
That was a paperback book that was helpful. The best one I got, and Linda James did find a copy of it, there's a book called Go For It. And it was an inexpensive paperback, which you can't find much of those anymore. But it was called Go For It, and that was the self-help business book that helped me the most.
Oh. Thank you for sharing that, Pixie. Because there's always...
If you feel awkward out there in the big world, most people do also. They might smile and look like they're fitting in, but most people, you know, if it's a big group or something, they're not going to be super at ease. And you don't need to drink at the party to have a good time. What I found was if I have a soda pop with a cherry in it and everybody around me is having a cocktail, they think I'm having a cocktail anyway.
Yeah.
So just go back and see how foolish they get. You don't need a lot of those bad habits. We were taught correctly on that. You don't need to drink and smoke.
Right. I'm hearing you, my sister. I'm hearing you. But I also...
Well, that's all I've got today.
What's that?
That's about all I've got today.
Oh, well, I know you'll think of something. You're always sharing really great tips. But I think...
Well, I'll try to be on tonight. I'll try to be on late tonight if anybody's up late.
Oh, I know people love when you're on the line. But one thing I also remember is the feeling of feeling awkward. And like you brought out, you feel like an outsider, like you want to feel comfortable within a group. And it's just, it takes practice. And born-ins, I can't even imagine, because at least I have a memory from until age 5 where I was just allowed to be normal. So now I just am what I am.
I had a very good early childhood. I can't put too much. I can't put too much, you know, on that. My early childhood was pretty great. But but it was in a witness context, you know, gradually more and more of that.
Isn't that the way it is? Whenever I hear about a great childhood, including mine, it was always before Watchtower, or before Watchtower completely took over.
But I do realize, looking back, that when I excelled in first grade, and then they're throwing me in the hallway for the lack of flag issue, you know, I got my comedy chops early when they threw me in that hallway every day.
I can't understand being put in the hallway for a flag salute. I mean,
it was every day, and I learned not to fall over. It was good for my balance and good for my comedy. And I would look across the hall at the 4th grade and say, I'm going to excel because I can't wait to get to 4th grade.
Wow. I think you had a real strength of character, and, you know, that you were strong emotionally over and above what was happening to you and what you had no control over. Trying to be a good witness, it's hard because you're caught in the middle when you're a kid in school and you're a Watchtower, right?
Oh, it was. But again, I was a good looking kid, and I was funny, and I excelled in school. So those were pluses. I can't imagine if the child has another problem and they're a witness. That must be hell on earth for them.
Oh my God, I didn't think of that. If their witness parents are always on them, like white on rice, and criticizing them, or
And maybe they're a good kid, but maybe they're not in a gifted class. Maybe they're just like, in the middle of intelligence, the average child. And maybe they don't have a lot of talent, but they're a really good, loving child, and they want to be something. Maybe they've got nothing to hang on to,
Oh, Pixie, that is a good point. I didn't think of that.
Again, the homeschooled in the rural area, which I saw later in my 20s. I helped some great people that I loved that were witnesses that had a rural life, and I loved spending summers with them. Their children were homeschooled, and then they lived on the farm. They excelled. They were A students. They'd gone on to be nurses, all of them. But for a while, their whole world was that rural. They hadn't gone on to nursing school. So all their social was witnesses.
Oh, that's so out of balance. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
I think all of us need to get a book on etiquette, because a lot of men or young men, just this one tiny thing, didn't know how to shake hands. And they don't understand.
The etiquette book really helped me, and I just memorized it. And even the Bible students, the old Berean Bibles had a gentleman's charm school course in the back of that Bible.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That is awesome.
It was a beautiful course. It was in the appendix of the Berean Bible of how to be a gentleman.
Wow. One moment, brother.
How to treat the sisters and.
Okay. Pixie, well, let's let the other brother talk. But Pixie,
okay,
thank you so much, brother.
Bye.
Brother, are you there?
Hey, it's RJ.
Oh, RJ, I kept calling you Donald last show. Have you forgiven me yet?
But I'll agree with Pixie. They do set you up to fail in school being a witness. She already mentioned the Pledge of Allegiance. Not going over to other kids' houses after school and not being able to play sports really, it really limits the bonds you can make with your classmates or friends at school.
And it's such, RJ, it's so normal, and it's such an important part of our developing social skills and to be able to interact in different social situations when you're, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on. Those are the growing, developing, figuring it out years. And I was so desperate to be with my friends that I would just go straight from school and go hang out with my friends and get high. And, maybe it was only for a couple hours, but that was time to myself. Of course, I got in trouble. And, but you need that. Normal kids want to go over their friend's house or bring their friends home. Right? And if you don't get to have that, it's like you're wearing invisible chains, RJ. How was it for you? Go ahead, sweetheart.
And I wanted to say you got the new AI video up.
Hey, that wasn't me. Rick did it.
Okay, Rick did it. Did you give him any? Did you give him any tips or anything, or he just came up with it on his own?
He came up with it on his own. Yeah, I didn't even.
I was going to compliment you because, like, my story as a witness, or anything else for that matter, I couldn't sum up, because you always tell the story about, having all those kids and not having a ride to the Kingdom Hall. The way they illustrated it, it really explained your show away in like less than a minute.
Yeah, that's what Rick's his goal is, to make a short 1 minute video advertising each show on the 6 screen. So, he's pretty talented. He thinks of things. I don't know how he does it at his age, 78 years old, but he's always on the ball, working, thinking of things, very creative. Amazing. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. One thing I did notice, though, is they got the Kingdom Hall a little bit wrong. The AI kind of made it like a horse barn, it kind of made it look like that, like a shed, Whereas, you know, Kingdom Halls, they're kind of like banks without windows, you know, like the old school banks. Like they're all brick buildings, and they're kind of, they're nice, but they're kind of soulless, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm hearing you, but got the point
But
across.
anyway, as far as friendships in the Watchtower and leaving, I noticed leaving, like, or when I was in, I was always like self-conscious. Like I thought that I'm getting judged on every little thing. And maybe that was the environment too.
Yeah.
But by the time I left, it was like the old Rodney Dangerfield line. He said, "I once got out of show business, but nobody noticed. I was the last one to find out."
He was a kook. I loved him. And Rick really likes him too.
If you replace show business with being a witness, that was kind of like how I left.
I can understand. Well, how did, going from being a witness and having basically interactions with mostly other Watchtowerites, how did your experience, could you turn your YouTube all the way down, please?
I think that's somebody else. Yeah.
Oh, well, whoever else, turn your YouTube down, please, people. Otherwise, my brain cells start going in circles.
One of the big differences.
What?
One of the big differences is, like being a witness. It's kind of like a community. It's kind of like that. I don't know, like super secret club that you're a member. Yeah, like those the old fan clubs, whatever. You pull it out and like, oh yeah, you're a member, so am I. And it's a way to connect with people all over the country and world that are a member of the same club.
Right.
So one lesson I kind of had to learn, I was taking like college classes, and then like, because I'm trying to make new friends because I'm not a witness anymore. And then a lot of the people, like a lot of the people you meet and talk to, they're not limited by, their small community. So a lot of people will take or leave you, they interact with so many other people that you're nothing special to them,
Uh-huh. So you mentioned, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
RJ, guess whose show this is?
It's our show.
That's right. So I'm going to listen to you. What were you going to say, sweetheart?
Can I ask RJ a question?
Sorry. I got seasonal allergies.
Hey, RJ, I have
that,
a question. RJ, I have a question for you. This is Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, honey. Do you think maybe because you were a witness, you might be a little hard on yourself about how other people view you?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Do you think because you were a witness, and maybe now that you're out of Jehovah's Witnesses, you might have a lower opinion of yourself, though you may not need to, because, now that you're trying to relate to other people, maybe you're being hard on yourself.
Yeah. I didn't really view it as like a self-esteem issue. Like witnesses have like a good way of like ignoring like key things and not asking certain questions. But I don't think I had like a low self-esteem from being a witness. But you definitely have to learn, like you do have to relearn a lot of things, and some of that does involve self-esteem, and some of it involves being more direct and having clear goals of your own, and all that takes self-esteem. So in a way, there are parts of yourself that you're neglecting while being in the group.
Okay.
No doubt. And there's a lot of social awkwardness when you come out of Watchtower that you don't realize until you start interacting with normal people. And anyway, did I interrupt, Susan? I bet I did. My sister?
No, my
What
second
we-
part of the question was today, because I go to work with Rick almost every day, and we hire people and get rid of people. People today don't have a lot of manners, or they don't have a lot of, they're not really interested in how you're doing, just like the witnesses. If you go into the Kingdom Hall and they go, "Hi, how are you?" They really don't want to know how you are. They don't really
Rick,
want to know that. So, but today people don't have a lot of manners, and they don't seem to be very interested in beyond their own scope of existence. So maybe you might, I'm thinking sometimes people can be hard on themselves because people today don't have the social skills either.
Oh, no, they don't. They have social skills Watchtower style, which is basically hypocrisy and fake.
I agree.
That's why I didn't get along with anybody. I always said what I thought. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? You're talking like a normal person. We don't like it. That's not the Watchtower way. You need to get your programming gear.
So we can try and be like a normal person, but what is a normal person? And today, like I said, people don't have a lot of manners or not a deportment or whatever. So it's kind of hard to know how to even act. In not we
Right.
knew better how to act as a witness than we do as just a normal person in this world, because people don't really, there's no normal anymore.
Right. But like Pixie said, we could read a book on etiquette and, knowing things to say in certain situations and,
But
stuff like
Anne-Marie,
that.
who's going to do that? How many people do you know?
I did.
Well,
I did. I have a nice big fat book.
But you're smart. But
Go ahead.
Most people aren't. I do not personally feel, and anyone can just, call me on that, but I just don't think they would.
Well, all you can do is take care of yourself, educate yourself, and let everybody else figure it out. What?
Anne Marie,
Yes, who's this?
it's still RJ.
It's still RJ? Oh, what's up, RJ?
Because I always do like self-reflecting, and I think about things like, and if you would have asked me a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, I would have said there's nothing good about being a witness. I don't know how I got involved. I don't know why it was the thing to do. I had to run 5,000 miles away from it. But I go back to, I think about what it was like when I was in, and one thing they do is they have like very nice weddings.
Okay.
And they have, and they do like a potluck thing where people from the hall can bring a dish. And I bet you a witness wedding could probably cost like half the amount.
Yeah, they can do it that way, but then there are other wedding receptions in particular where witnesses who are not invited will hear about a wedding reception from Watchtower and just invite themselves and start eating up the food, and there's not enough food for the guests that were invited.
That's absolutely true. Like I remember my cousin, and he's been married a few times now. I think if he gets married another time, I don't think it's going to be a safe bet for that woman. But anyway, his first marriage, like they didn't know like he was like that. So he had a beautiful wedding. He had, like all things considered, I don't think many 20-year-olds would have a wedding like that.
It was really nice.
Wedding reception.
Uh-huh.
And even when I was in my family members that were in, I probably could have had 200 people at my wedding. and I could have filled out. I probably would have had. It'd be a stretch to get the 5th groomsman, but I could have had 4.
Mm.
So, you know, that's some of the stuff that, was good about, or some of the stuff that motivated you to stay in. Of course, it didn't go down like that. Like when I was a kid, my memories of witness weddings were doing the Macarena or learning the Macarena. And then, when it's my time to be that age, 10 years later or 12 years later, there's no Macarena going down. It's all negative.
Oh, that was fun to be able to do that. And the New York slide and the Manhattan slide. Line dancing is fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
But then
but
there's
I remember like my last year in, it was pretty brutal. It was there was a lot of gossiping going on. There was a lot of friendships that were broken, and yeah, there was no Macarena.
What happened? You said the friendships broken and the last years were really difficult. What happened, RJ?
Well, basically, I was trying to be a better witness, and I thought a lot of people were my friends, and I opened up my friendship circle and was talking to everybody. And I trusted a lot of people just because they were witnesses that I shouldn't have trusted.
Yeah.
And witnesses, sometimes they don't need a reason to hate you. They just don't like you. They don't like anybody. They don't like worldly people. They don't like people who are not witnessy enough. They don't like witnesses they're in competition with. Just they're haters.
Yeah, I've seen it. I know what you're talking about. And that's so discouraging when you're trying to be a good witness.
And
Aw.
and I couldn't there was, I talked about how I could have made like had a beautiful wedding and all that. The only problem was I wouldn't have had a bride.
Why is that?
Because there was not like anybody in the area that, not even somebody I'm talking on the phone with or casually seeing. There was it just was not there. And that has to do with area and demographics, but Jehovah definitely didn't do me any favors at that period of time.
Aww.
Because you're taught as a witness that God provides and that he or Jehovah provides, and that he's got your back and he'll perform miracles in your behalf or for you. But sometimes you rot away waiting for him.
Oh, I heard that.
But I'll let somebody else call in and share their stories. Oh, and Anne Marie, I wanted to mention. Did you hear the new program that's on? It's on the other week. So the one, there's Dick and Constance, and then they have a new guy that does a show.
Oh, really? No, I didn't.
I'm trying to remember his name now. Seth.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Seth. He's really great. Rick has interviewed him a few times. Very knowledgeable.
I think he's going to be doing it for a while.
Well, we hope so.
Because I know you need a week off. So, more people that have shows, there's something to look forward to every week.
Absolutely. Rick is doing a fabulous job making sure everybody and doing well and that their show is supported. He's doing a great job.
Yes, Rick is the old presiding overseer.
And he presides very well with love and patience and support, not like we experienced in another group.
Absolutely. But I want you to have a great Saturday night and the rest of the show, and I'll open it up for others to talk.
Oh, RJ, thank you so much. And thank you again for calling in and sharing your thoughts, because I think everything that everybody says is important. I really, really do feel that. So thank you. I want to invite, while I'm thinking of it, anyone who has never called in before, I want you to feel free and comfortable to call in and just say, hey, just let me know that you're a new caller and give me any name that you want me to call you by. I'm not asking for your real name. I want you to feel comfortable, because this really is a safe place. And it's nice to be able to have a chance to share your thoughts or your questions or your experience. So please, any new callers, feel free. I'm here to listen and validate and support you. Anybody like to chime in? My Six Screens family, this show is for you, and I'm here to listen. Anybody want to share any thoughts about how you were dealing with trying to have healthy and normal relationships once you left the Watchtower? Any struggles you may have had? You know, I know a lot of people had a lack of self-confidence, a lack of social skills, feeling needy, feeling that need for approval. And it's really awkward when you know you said something that doesn't resonate with normal people. Or I know one thing that a lot of ex-witnesses do, if anybody gives them any attention, they will just suck it up and keep talking about me. And, you know, you have to be you learn as you go. You just learn as you go.
Anne-Marie?
Anybody have a comment?
Anne-Marie?
Yes. Who's this? Yes. Who's this, please?
This is Susan?
Oh, my sister.
Yes.
What is on my baby's mind?
My concern is, lately we've had a lot of people taking their lives, suicide. This concerns me very strongly. That Rick and I have provided this 24-hour hotline in case anybody really needs to talk. I don't mean that, 24 hours. Now, my phone has not been functioning very well lately, so I apologize to anyone who's been trying to get a hold of me. But that's beside the point. The point is we're trying to form our own community. Isn't that true, Anne-Marie?
Oh, absolutely.
So we really need to support one another. Now, that's not to say, well, we were Jehovah's Witnesses, now we're forming the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses as a new religion. No, that's not the case. What we're trying to do is to support one another, because I looked up this article on AI, and it mentions that AI says that, and I will quote, and I quote, that Jehovah's Witnesses are the most profoundly difficult group to exit from. Now, that's AI. That's not me. That's not any person. That's just basically the computer in all its wisdom speaking. So it's hard to leave. So we really should support one another, because it's a big deal to leave. And don't think that it isn't. Because now that we have all these different things on YouTube or whatever, we can look up articles, we can read books. That's just fine. But it's still hard. It still is hard. So what do you think would be ways that, if anyone could speak up, how can we support one another beyond reading books, or what are some ways we could support one another, do you think?
Personally, I really believe in support groups, one-on-one support groups. I know many ex-witnesses have done their best to put together a support group. And then the next thing that would help is what we're doing right here on the show, calling in live where we can, share our thoughts, ask questions. And generally, all of us who are on the Six Screens listen, and we validate and we support, and that is a real beautiful thing. But I think meetups like Fran and Joe have been doing That is so important. And I wish we could do that, just to come together in a group. I had one group I belonged to, and we all met at a large park, and they came from all over California, and there must have been close to 1,000. And we just needed to come together and see each other face to face. And we formed in groups, and we were talking and sharing and validating. And, oh, me too. Oh, I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah. It's just such a good thing, because the Watchtower makes you feel like, if you go outside the group, it's this no man's land, and you're just going to flounder, and you're not going to know how to live, and Satan's going to take over your life, and you're going to get into drugs and drinking, and they tell you all these horrible things. So I personally believe we need connection, eye to eye, face to face connection, like you and your husband did for the 225 convention. That was a beautiful thing. A lot of people appreciated that.
It's just a shame that more people didn't take advantage of it, because they thought they could, well, I'll just listen, on YouTube and I'll get the benefit of it, which you do to some extent. But I think you'll agree to this, Anne Marie. Being there in person makes it totally different. You connect more. I saw so many people making connections. Even late at night, they'd get together. They'd be outside talking.
Yes. Well, I had a fabulous time. I missed a lot of it, but I was really happy, like I told you, I was sitting in the front row and listening to somebody speak, and I kept looking over to the right, and I said, I can't believe all I have to do is turn my head, and there's Susan. It was such a joy just to be able to look at you and see Susan, see you, see your husband, and then over another time, sitting over to my left was Constance, just being that friend and so ladylike and looking so nice and being so sweet, and Dick as well, and meeting Norman and meeting Stephen and meeting Nadine and just hanging out. It was so nourishing. It was totally soul nourishing.
So this is second best, I would say, getting together every Saturday night. And what helps, I think, Anne Marie?
Did I get cut off?
No, did you? Anne Marie?
Anne Marie?
Oh, yes. Who's this?
This is Junction Guy.
Well, hello, Junction Guy. What have you been up to?
Well, I'm just kind of wore out. I'm in a big project at work with a deadline, and we're behind schedule. I've been working extra hours, and then last weekend I went to the lake with my brother. He came up this way, and his in-laws and stuff, and end up pulling a muscle in my rib cage.
Oh no, that's so painful.
Yeah, and I didn't go to the doctor because really I've been told there's nothing they can do for it. You just have to let it heal.
Yeah.
But anyway, this subject you're talking about, relationships outside the Watchtower. So in my life, you can define it by two different periods. One when I was physically out, and one when I was mentally out. And when I left physically out, I made a last-ditch effort to go to the Kingdom Hall to get baptized. And I was in Kentucky at the time, and I went to this congregation over in the next county. And, I tried to make friends there, and I don't know, it just didn't work out. It was like, people just didn't want to do anything. But when I decided to leave there, leave Jehovah's Witnesses, it was actually a positive for me because I returned back into the community I was a part of. Because when we started going to the meetings there, I kind of isolated myself from the community where I lived. So to me, it was a plus. I mean, I just, I could have a normal life. But then, there's also the period of mentally out. And that didn't come till later till I discovered the truth, the real truth about the truth.
And at that period of my life, and still, I didn't have any close connections, no friends, no sense of community.
Oh,
And it's been hard living around here. I feel socially awkward. I have two friends that are basically, I don't know, fair weather friends, I guess you could say. Like, if I don't make the effort to contact them, they wouldn't contact me. And one of them, I said, let's meet up this weekend. And he said, well, I'm going hiking Saturday, and then somebody said a concert on Sunday. Well, then on his Facebook post, he says, life is great, especially with best friends on the lake. And that kind of bothered me right there, because I had invited him years ago to the lake when my brother had a houseboat. And he, I don't know if he couldn't swim or there's some reasons why he wasn't a water person. But, I got thinking, if I didn't know the truth about the truth and where I'm living at now, I would most certainly go back to the Kingdom Hall just for a sense of community, a sense of belonging or something. You know what I'm saying?
I totally do.
That's the truth of it. It's like, I did join some little clubs and stuff around here, I went to a political group meetup. People weren't that friendly. Actually, a couple of them were, but the group leaders weren't very enthusiastic. It was very just quiet, low key. They just, I don't know. But, I went to several churches around here looking for a particular worship style experience. I couldn't find it. And then I did find the one that I thought was it. And then the social dynamics was wrong. And of course, there was a young lady, the pastor's daughter, that I thought was interested in me, but she wasn't. But it's just, my best part of my life was when I physically left the first time, and I had a community to go back to. I wasn't left with nothing. In fact, I gained quite a bit by leaving the witnesses. So, back years ago, I was talking to my grandma. She was a witness. And she's like, and at the time I was looking to date. I was lonely. I was looking to date. And she's like, no, what you really need, you just need a buddy, somebody to travel with. And I'm like, well, okay, yeah. So now it's like, here at my age, I just need a buddy to hang out with, a friend. And now everybody's trying to fix me up with somebody if they even just look at them sideways. It's like, what do you call it? It's like your whole life, you've been alone. I've been divorced twice from the same woman. But it's like I reached the point in my life where I'm finally content to live alone, and now everybody's wanting to hook me up with somebody.
Ay, Dios mío.
It's like your parents, here's the rationale. You're a kid, and your parents wouldn't let you have any candy or sweets. And then you're diagnosed as a diabetic, and then all of a sudden they start pushing cake on you and everything else.
Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, it's like, man.
Yeah, I've reached a stage, I'm comfortable living alone, and I'm not comfortable not having friends or community. That's what bothers me, But anyway, so that's pretty much it. But yeah, it's like, I was thinking, boy, if I didn't know the truth about the truth, I'd go back to the hall. But of course, I ain't never gonna do that.
Yeah, it's a natural thing. A lot of people do end up going back. And to me, it just comes down to the human need to belong and to be with people that are familiar, So, and Pixie's brought out a lot of times, learn things, learn social skills, take a class, in something you're really interested in. Because when you take any class, it could be pottery or fishing or anything. If you take a class or join a group that is doing something that you're really interested in, you're going to meet like people, because you like something and they like the same thing and they're all coming together for the same thing. It's going to help you feel part of a group, which is a basic human need. That's why Watchtower manipulates that need so well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, my basic human need is not being met here. I've tried everything. It's just not. It's the hardest place in the world for me to live and not feel socially awkward. It's just weird.
Yeah, I know. So
it's a big city, and of course, I was raised in a big city. But up there in that big city, there was subgroups and cultures. You could get involved with. Here, it's not. I've looked around and stuff, but I just stick here for the job and the benefits. The benefits of the job is the only reason I'm here.
so is there anybody you get along with at work?
Well, there's a lot of nice people, but it's just, what do you call it? Shallow friendships on the surface. And now they're much younger than me now, not even in the same age group. So I'm old enough to be these kids' dad. But they're nice. I mean, most of them I get along with everybody. I don't know. It's just odd.
Junction guy?
It can be hard.
Yes.
Hi, this is Susan. There's a woman at work. Her husband recently passed away from a drug overdose, believe it or not. But what she's going through the same thing you are. And she's a little bit different in her personality. I mean, her hair is cut down to like a half inch all over her head. She's, just a different kind of person, but she's nice. The reason I mention this is she needed to know what to do when her husband was gone. So what she did was she found a group to volunteer for. And that's what she would do at least twice a week. Is it twice a week, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
It's twice a week she goes and volunteers to help serve food. And that way, if she knows of anyone who needs food that isn't part of this program, she can bring food to them too. So it kind of helps both ways. And the suggestion is maybe you could find something like that where you could serve food. You wouldn't necessarily have to join the church, but you could help with some of the volunteer programs.
That's a good idea, yes.
Yeah, Junction guy, Rick Farron here at the 6 Screens. Yeah, what I'm thinking here is, a lot of people, we're going to be talking a little bit about it tonight on JW World News. In the ex-witness world, there's a problem right now with a lot of people becoming so discouraged, so down and out, depressed. We had in the last month here, we had 3 ex-Jehovah's Witnesses commit suicide. And, Susan and I have been working on this and trying to come to grips with it. A good friend of ours, Chewy, that's been on the program here numerous times, he committed suicide 2 weeks ago today, as a matter of fact. So we're going to be playing a little tribute to him tonight and talking a little bit about it. But what I'm seeing here is one of the problems I'm going to admit tonight here on the 6 Screens. We all know it anyways. You're not going to learn anything new, I don't think. But we know that when you leave the witnesses, you leave a whole family. You could say that. You leave people behind that at one time were very close to you. We're really even closer than your real siblings, biological siblings, and people very close to you. And when you leave, it's a traumatic. It's trauma. It's too much for people to handle, and so consequently, they're feeling the adverse effects of it. Many go over the edge.
Even AI recognizes it as difficult. I mean, that's a computer you're asking. You're not asking another human. It's just one of the most difficult things to do is to leave Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes, it really is, because you're leaving a whole group of people.
Rick, are you sure that Chewy committed suicide?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I got enough information on him. I saw his obituary in the
I
news.
think the
Rick?
phone line,
What's that?
something happened to the phone lines or something.
Can you hear
Did
me?
you hear that Rick said that Chewy committed suicide?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yes, yeah, he said that, and I'm wondering if that was the guy that was on the show about a month or so ago when I came on a video feed, and it was like split up into 3 different people. There was a man and a woman, and I'm wondering if that was Chewy. I'm trying to remember who he was.
Well, he didn't. Chewy did not come on video. He still was kind of wanting
Hello,
to.
Henry.
Go ahead.
Hi, honey. Yeah, Rick did tell us that Chewy did commit suicide.
This is who?
This is
This
Constance.
Oh, I thought so. What's up, my
Yeah.
love?
Yeah, and with regards to what the brother just said, yeah, Chewy was on, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago, something like that. And he had a real poor connection on the phone that night. His cell battery was running low, and next thing you know, the connection cut off. So yeah, maybe Rick will talk more about that tonight. But apparently he committed suicide. I'm not sure why. I know his wife was a JW and he had been out, but yeah, that is true, Anne Marie. So thank you.
Well, I have a real nasty thought. The last time I listened to Chewy, I don't know if it was an interview or what, but it sounded like it was like an interview. And he was kind of laughing about different things. And he was kind of laughing about his time at Bethel, how he was a newbie and didn't really know the rules, quote unquote. And he said when he heard that there was a hot tub down below Bethel, and he thought, well, he'll explore it. And he went down there. He said he went down there. He said it was a hot tub or a sauna that would fit about 6 people. And he said nobody was there, so he thought he'd enjoy the sauna. And then he said later, after he was done, he was sitting, I think, at dinner or at a meal with the other Bethelites. And he was kind of like, hey, I went and checked out that sauna. It was pretty awesome. And he was getting all kinds of weird looks. And a few people said, that's where brother so-and-so has fun with the boys. So obviously he wasn't supposed to know. And now all of a sudden he's dead. That gives me pause.
Yeah. Makes
Yeah,
me wonder
that's-
why he didn't do it.
Well,
He was always really upbeat. You know how he was.
He was, Anne Marie.
Yeah,
But Rick said that apparently he had just lost his job at Home Depot. So maybe that had something to do with it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, when you're depressed and crap happens to you, it kind of, exemplifies whatever. But it just
Right.
seems strange. It's just like Johnny the Bethelite. He tells us that they discovered on the deep, dark web that the higher ups in the Watchtower, the governing body, were involved with pornography and child, pedophilia and sex trafficking. And then all of a sudden we don't hear from him again. Just disappeared. And he's not the only one. There are a few that have just disappeared or had a suicide. You know how easy it is to make a murder look like a suicide? I'm just putting it out there.
well, Anne
I don't trust Watchtower as far as I can spit.
Hello, Anne Marie. In fact, it's
So that makes sense though what you said though, because I mean,
they don't hear you
even though I don't really know the facts, but where you said that
because they are
that
interrupting you.
place down in the basement was where they had fun with the boys. I was just when you said that, I was picturing in my mind all this male fondling and sex
Oh, please.
between males going on down there, and I'm thinking, wow, the governing body doing all that? My goodness.
hello, Anne
Well,
Marie.
we do know it's happened. Too many people have told the same story.
Can you
So
hear me? Can you hear
That
me, Anne
proves
Marie?
that- that Bethel is not as clean as they claim it is. And they can sit there and claim all they want how clean their organization is. But to be honest with you folks, from what I've been hearing and what you guys been hearing, that organization is filthy, totally rat filthy.
Yep. They are evil, and there is no doubt about it. Because if they were really God's organization, well, they're turning God, for one thing, into a false prophet, because he says this, everything they do and say is in the name of Jehovah. So apparently, they're throwing Jehovah under the bus, and that scripture, 2 Corinthians 3:17, says that where Jehovah is, where his spirit is, there is freedom. And it's only logical to assume that Jehovah's Spirit would be with his people, his organization. But the criteria to determine if God's Spirit is there, according to that scripture, is that there's freedom. If there was freedom, that would be the strong indication that God's Spirit is there, because it says where the Spirit of Jehovah is, there is freedom. And since there's no freedom at all, I mean, they might feel like they have freedom now because now they can wear beards. The brothers don't have to wear ties. Sister can wear pants. Some sisters carry the microphone, quote unquote, freedom. But it's not. It's only what they allow. That's what Pixie brings out all the time. The word allow. They allow this and they allow that. Well, the governing body has decided. It's like, but you still are not free. You're not free to question. You're not free to research. You're not free to disagree. You're not free to leave. You're not free. Hello?
Smurf girl, she disappeared. When she opened up and exposed who she really was, we don't hear from her anymore.
Yeah, it's a scary thing. What's your name, my dear, or what do you want to be called?
That's all I have to say.
Okay. You don't want to be called Mr. Magoo or Captain Mighty or I don't know, Lucas, any name you want. I just like to acknowledge all my callers. Are you a first-time caller, dear? Can you say that? No? If you don't want to, say whatever you want or don't say whatever you don't want. I'm glad you chimed in. It is scary. There are many people who have come on the show over the years that talked about certain people who said too much or knew things they weren't supposed to know, and they disappeared. That's not a good thing. It's not a good sign.
Anne Marie, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anyways, I'll just get back to where I was. It kind of crossed my mind on that too. He was so jovial and he was so really optimistic. I talked to him at least once a week, sometimes 2-3 times a week. And last time he was on the program was July 4th. That's about 6 weeks ago, like Constance said. But I never detected in him any sadness or life was miserable or rotten. I only always detected something that was always upbeat. As a matter of fact,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
upbeat.
He was telling me about some coffee that he was brewing special and going to sell it online. He was very enthused about that. He came on the program, your program, about a couple months ago and told some things about his life. His wife still was in the witness world, and we're going to talk a little bit about him tonight. And anyways, what the point I wanted to make is you're absolutely right. We do have a lot of people that are missing in action. And it seems like they're missing in action right after they divulged some pretty scary stuff going on in the Watchtower. Now, whether it's just a coincidence or not, we can do what we want with it. But it really shocked me that this man did this, committed suicide. He would be one of the last people that I would think that would happen to. But he did come on. He was talking about that sauna. And of course, that's pretty, he's a Bethelite. And I'm going to go a little bit into how he was not a Bethelite, how he was actually disfellowshipped. I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And that really was traumatic. When you're disfellowshipped from Bethel, it's not like being disfellowshipped from the local Kingdom Hall. This goes up a few steps higher. You are really, I mean, you want to talk about being humiliated. You feel 2 feet high. He didn't make Bethel and they sent him home as a disfellowship Bethelite. And there's a certain procedure, I'm going to get into it tonight when I talk about him on the way they do it at Bethel. It's a little bit different than the congregational level. But I'm shocked. I'm still shocked. In fact, it almost brought tears to my eyes today going over some of the information on Chewy. I have some sound clips tonight when he called into the program on July 4th. So we'll be playing those tonight, Anne Marie. I'm not going to bring up on my program that it might have been, I'm thinking it could be something more nefarious. I won't bring that up in view of our listeners tonight, but I'm glad you brought it up because it's food for thought. It really is.
Oh, no doubt. And again, there have been others that have called into the show on the 6 screens over the years who have mentioned others that have disappeared. And one sister who lived in a very rural area with some other witnesses that she knew, they all knew where, quote unquote, bodies were buried, not just 1 or 2, but a few, I think 3. And they knew where they were buried. They knew who had killed them. They knew, why they were killed. And they were terrified to give any details. They were terrified of being found out that they knew. And because they didn't want to end up dead too. So as I've said many times, I don't put anything past this organization. I mean, evil is evil. Evil doesn't have a conscience.
Well, I like the way you think. I always thought you'd be a good detective. I always thought that. And you're trying to connect dots. And that's what we try to do whenever someone does commit suicide. I don't know what that means. We always try to connect dots.
Absolutely. Do you know where that noise is coming from?
Yeah,
good.
It's coming from Ken. In fact, Ken, you, if you can hear me, your telephone is making a lot of noise. I noticed on it tonight as well as in past weeks. Is there a fan or something near your phone? Because it sounds like there's something that's creating some noise there. Ken.
Hi, this is Chris in Arizona. If I can jump in, I'm not making the noise though.
Oh, I know you're not. Yep. Go ahead, Chris.
We can tell. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, as usual, I'm enjoying the program. I got in a little bit late. I just want to repeat what Susan said to I don't know who the caller was, his name or anything, about, having superficial relationships, trouble making relationships outside of the organization. And what I found in my case, I was an elder for a long time, like 10 years, I've been out for since 2004 in any event. I'm going to stress this again, and I'm not going to get off on a religious tangent, but what I found, oddly enough, for me personally, to pretty much recover from this, number one, these shows that you all are involved with over the last year or so have helped me immeasurably. So that's one thing. Keep listening. And I didn't know about Chewy. I know I had heard him several times. And I just thought to myself, if he only knew, and maybe he did, and maybe he knows now, how many friends, how many lives he touched in a positive way. That's all I'm doing. We all have friends on this show. We don't know one another necessarily. So that's number one. Number two, and this is tough. I became what I consider to be a true Christian. You have to forgive the Watchtower, and by that I mean you don't have to give up the fact that they're rotten, they're this, they're that. But if you can, as long as there's hatred, anger, even justified, I'm just saying, it's tough to get over that. And if you can, just forgive them and let it go. I was born in and lost, oh boy, how much And the other leg to my stool, I guess you might say, is don't believe that, Watchtower tells you the whole time, if you leave us, you're doomed. You've got nothing. They are not any authority whatsoever as far as who God really is and who his son is and all that. Seek it out. Don't give up. Get involved in outside organizations, like Susan said. I would recommend Christianity as a pursuit. It's tough because you got that Trinitarian, anti-Trinitarian, all that stuff baked in. But like I say, I'm getting old. I didn't say it on this particular call, but I am 72. Was in for a long time, but my wife and I both escaped. And I've got some stories too that I might share sometime. Not necessarily tonight. Nothing as harrowing as some of the stories I've heard on here, but kind of comical, kind of funny. I missed the show. I think it was last week. I didn't. Yeah, I did. I couldn't listen to it live. The funny stories about Watchtower. So anyway, okay, that's about all I got for today.
Well, okay. Thank you so much, Chris. Are you a new caller today?
No, actually, I've talked to you a couple of times. It just shows you how memorable I am. I called you a couple of times.
You.
I know. I'm just kidding you. Anyway, yeah, I called your show a couple of times. I called Rick a couple of times, so I think I got hold of the show. Is it Rick, Dick, and Constance on a show that earlier?
They're great.
Anyway, I talked to them also. They're just all you guys are just really nice to associate with, and I enjoy it. But don't let the Watchtower beat you down. You got to. Even I'm still listening to this show, and I think I'm pretty much over, with Watchtower as such. But I like to stay in touch. So I consider you folks, these programs, a real part of recovery.
Yeah, I do as well.
Okie dokie. Well, I'll let you get back to the noisy guy, and I'm enjoying the show. And you have a good night. Love you.
I love you too. And Chris, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Okay.
You add a lot to the show.
Jump in quick.
Yeah.
Hey, hi. This is Diamond Dave over from YouTube. How's everyone doing?
Your name is Diamond Dave?
Yes, I'm on the YouTube chat right now, actually.
Okay. What's on your mind?
So I wanted to call in. I'm the ex-Mormon guy. Never was a Jehovah's Witness. I wanted to call in because there's a lot of people talking about having deep, meaningful relationships, and that's obviously a good thing. I wanted to chime in a bit because I've also heard people talking about like superficial relationships. And for me, I don't have a problem with superficial relationships, and I don't think they're a bad thing, so long as you acknowledge that is the function of the relationship. Because I have a lot of superficial friendships, right? I have a lot of guys who I do gaming with, or when I go back to the United States and I visit, we go to a bar, we shoot some pool, and then we go our separate ways. And I think it's healthy to have both. Because in my personal experience, from what I've talked to, people who seek deep, meaningful relationships all the time, they end up feeling isolated because they only have one or two really close friends. And if they're busy or they're, living their lives right, then you're lonely. So that's something I wanted to just point out, that I think it's healthy to have a mix. So that way you don't feel isolated.
Oh, no doubt. As long as you are aware of what is what and just accept it for what it is and do the best you can and be the best man you can. We don't have to try to turn a superficial relationship into a deep, satisfying relationship. Hey, like my mom said, she said, you need to tell the difference between an acquaintance and a friend. And she taught me that, and that really helped.
Yeah, and for me at least, and it's going to be different for everybody, but I think for me, I don't necessarily have acquaintances. I have friends, but I just differentiate what kind of friends they are. I put a qualifying term. Like I have my gaming friends, I have my bar friends, I have my online friends. But then I have like actual like deep, meaningful relationships, which I personally don't call them friends because to me, friends is kind of a generic term. But I live overseas, so the concept of friendships is like very, very different than back in the U.S. from what I've seen.
But you know what works for you, Diamond Dave. Right?
And I'm inviting everyone to get out there and explore because I've seen this with Mormonism too, right? Where when you come out of Mormonism or you come out of the Jehovah's Witnesses, there's like isolation and there's like there's a craving for like really deep connection, which at least from the Mormon side, craving deep connection isn't bad, but from the Mormon side, I see can get dangerous because people will latch on to the first person that will give them any sort of attention, and they can end up being taken advantage of, right?
Exactly.
So,
that's what I was talking about. When you're needy and you're needing approval, and anybody who gives you positive attention, I call them emotional leeches. They don't mean to be that way, but they're so starved for anybody to hear them, see them, compliment them, listen to them, and they end up just plugging in and sucking everything out of you because they're so needy. So it's a hard tightrope to walk, and I think we each need to just practice and be able to look at ourselves and see if we're a little too much this or not enough that. And don't feel guilty. Don't feel ashamed. Just keep doing the best you can and be real. Be honest. Just be real and take care of you. And I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah. And I mean, it's my story is a little bit different than most people here, but yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to call and encourage people that, hey, if you have some superficial friendships, that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Find what works for you. Just be yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's all about balance. And I think you are so right on the money because some people can't offer more than that. Everybody's just in the world doing the best they can. And you have to be cognizant of what works for you, have your personal boundaries, what's okay, what you'll accept, what you won't accept, and, just to see things realistically. And you're the boss of your ship. You are the captain of your ship, and you are running your life. And it works, you figure it out.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm gonna bounce. I'll still listen on YouTube. I just wanted to chime in quick, and I'll let other people talk. So you all have a good one.
Oh, and you as well, Diamond Dave. And I'm so happy you called in and shared what your thought was. I really appreciate that. Would anybody else like to chime in and share a thought or comment on anything that Chris from Arizona, who's been out for over 20 years, shared, or something Rick said, or Diamond Dave said?
Yeah. Hello, Anne Marie.
Hi, who's this?
Yeah, this is Ken here from Michigan.
Hi, Ken.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I didn't have a chance to get a hold of Jay yet, but I'm going to try down the road, see how he's doing. But last time I talked to him, he's talkative and he's holding his own and so forth. And today I didn't have a chance to listen to a lot of the program. I didn't have a chance to listen to it. I was downtown shopping. Because my cars broke down, I had to go with someone else, and I had to go when he had time to go. So we got back, and we got some of the program, so that's good. And I want to comment on just part of it. my heart goes out to the people that have, the families of the people who have lost their loved ones via suicide. I'm very sorry to hear that. But I do hope that the family members or that they will do a competent investigation to make sure it was just that or it didn't look like suicide, because, yeah, this is getting kind of suspicious here. Johnny the Bethelite and everything like that, and some of these other cases, it's getting suspicious. So my heart goes out to the family, and I appreciate the comment that you made. I think it's made at the right time of the captain of the ship. I appeal to the people out there to please remember that you got out of the Watchtower Society. You're the captain of your ship right now. And any time that the Watchtower Society comes around, send them packing. Don't let them see you. Don't let them see you sweat, or don't be frightened of them or anything like that. Matter of fact, just keep on hoping that their pants will catch on fire. So keep on hoping that there's going to be a baptism of the Holy Spirit so strong that their pants is going to catch on fire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not worth it. I'm sorry to hear that about Chewy and other people there. So, and I mean, the world has been going crazy lately, right? Lower Peninsula and Dearborn, Michigan, and then Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I don't know where it's going to break out. I'm not going into that right now because I'm sure everybody has heard of it. But we're in really a predicament. We're in bad times, so we got to get our heads together and stay together and so forth. Because remember the old Catholic saying, "Those that pray together stay together." So don't forget that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And not got too much to comment about tonight, so we'll keep listening and have a good evening right now, and God bless and be with you all.
Well, hi, Ken, and take care now, Ken.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Thought I greet you right while you're here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Well, I thought I'd stop on by here, even if it's just briefly. And I heard a lot, and I just had to listen to this show. You have so much about your story, so many details that this you do. Is this Larry speaking? Because it sounds like it's sound trouble, and I didn't know. It's not. It ain't Larry. It ain't Larry. What's your name, dear? I go by the after the city in Texas. Dallas. Remember me? It's a different person than Larry. I'm from me. Yeah.
That's Dallas. That's Dallas.
Okay, I get Dallas and Larry mixed up. Thank you so much, Larry. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dallas. Well, I just love hearing about it, and just you're right that I think that's a good thing you want to learn about social mores and that you put in the effort. I want to compliment y'all for that, and the best you can is what you can do, which I think about that, and just think about if we put in our effort, we can assimilate, and that getting out of that community, out of that evil cult, that Watchtower cult, that or getting your family, your children out, then it'll be something lifted off of them for anyone, actually. Yeah. All right. Rick, are you there? I have a question.
Yes. Hold on.
Rick, are you there?
Hold on. Oh, hold on 1 second.
I'm just wondering if the sound quality is me or if there's something else going on. Okay, anybody else like to comment, share a thought, an experience, a comment?
All right, Anne Marie,
You there?
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, this is Thomas Hawk. Hello?
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Thomas Hawk from Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah,
Hi,
man,
Thomas.
I'm saddened about. Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Man, I'm just
Happy
like
to hear
blown
you.
away.
Yeah.
I'm so sad about Chewy, man. God, he seemed like a really nice guy. I mean, I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. I knew he had some tough times, but I thought he pretty much had it under control. Boy, I just wish there's something I could have done. Well, like everybody would wish that naturally, but I don't know. I hope it was, I hope it wasn't some foul play. I'll put it that way. But anyway.
We all do.
Yeah, it's so sad.
He did seem to be a jovial guy, and I just find it interesting. He was on quite a bit, and then the one time that he mentions that there was sauna down below in the basement of Bethel, and his experience and what he was told, that's where they play with the boys. And he said it right there on the public forum of Six Screens, tele network, and now all of a sudden he's just mysteriously committed suicide. I have suspicions.
It makes you wonder. Well, we know of a situation that happened some years back, and it was kind of somewhat similar to that. And all of a sudden, that individual never heard from again. Makes you wonder.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, this is not the first time. Not the first time. Remember, Johnny the Bethelite had a very close friend in Bethel who was working with him to surreptitiously bring up evidence and store evidence against the Watchtower. And that friend of his girlfriend was working with them. And Johnny the Bethelite said one day nobody could find her, and they never heard what happened to her. She just disappeared.
Yeah, that was something else. I kind of remember that. Is that the one that there was a lady that was sent home after they had grilled her like 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, no, this was a different one. The one who got sent home, Johnny said that a bunch of his friends and the sister, who were all working together to expose the Watchtower, decided to sneak in late at night into a room where they had these secret files in storage. And so they were down there with their flashlights and getting files, and they asked the sister, hold this file, hold that file. And then all of a sudden the lights went on, and stay where you are. A bunch of Bethelite, Gestapo police officers just, went after them, and everybody went running. Well, the girl, Johnny said the girl with the files slipped and fell, and she was trying to grab up the files and get up and run, but they came on her and pinned her down and hauled her off to her room, and they locked her in her room, and they grilled her and drilled her and wouldn't let her be in contact with anyone, took away her cell phone. She was literally locked in her room, and then they got rid of her in the middle of the night. She wasn't allowed to say anything to anybody. And while she was locked up, Johnny said he and his friends were trying to figure out a way to break into her room, through the air ducts of the air conditioning ducts, and they could not get in, and she was crying. They could hear her crying because they wouldn't let her out. And they finally sent her home, not allowed to say goodbye to anybody. And she goes home, and then her father, instead of saying what happened, how are you? He said it would have been better if you had never been born. So she took a bunch of pills, took a razor blade, got into the bathtub, slit her wrist, and bled to death.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah,
Man,
Johnny.
Very dangerous fault.
It is. It is. Johnny was so devastated over it. You know,
I need to pray for. I'm going to start praying for our group and all the witnesses. So terrible.
Yes, honey, it really is. And, you know, we really, as much as we know, we have to realize that there is so much more to this whole ugly situation. I mean, if Johnny is going to say that they discovered on the deep dark web, that goes down deep, very well hidden, that they discovered because they're so technologically smart, found that the higher ups, the governing body and other higher ups were deeply involved with child pornography, pedophilia, and sex trafficking. And guess what? That's the last we heard of him. That show was January 19th, 2019. Anybody want to get it? You can look on, I don't know, maybe Rick can find it, but it's a show behind closed doors. I believe that's it. Or no, I'm sorry. Johnny's show was Watchtower's Underground. If you can find Watchtower's Underground and look for the date, January 19th, 2019, you listen to that show and Johnny sounds so devastated and so disgusted and so scared. And then they ship him off to Warwick, where you can't get away from Warwick. And he begged Susan and Rick find a way to get him and a couple of his friends out of there, which Rick and Susan did. And then the next they heard from Johnny, he sounded fine. He's like, I made it. I'm in Brooklyn. And of course, the only place I could think of him to stay were when some of the brownstones that Watchtower still owned. And Rick and Susan never heard from him again. He was just gone. So I'm assuming in my nuts and bolts mind, the logical scenario to me is that he kept saying, I think they're on to me. I think they're on to me. I think they let him go and then entrapped him. Probably a car pulled up. Oh, hey, Johnny, we need your help with something over here, whatever. He got in the car, and that was the last anybody saw of him.
Yeah. Oh, they got all kinds of schemes. They're God's Satan, so they got a lot of power from Satan. Yeah.
Well, they have the ability to do evil and to hide it. Right. Who's going to believe anybody? Right. So it seems that if you let out in public on 6 Screens or another public forum, the real deep, dark, ugly that Watchtower denies, it's all apostate lies, you know. You put it out there from somebody who's reputable, like Johnny the Bethlite or Chewy. We know Chewy was telling the truth. He was there, and he was laughing about it, how embarrassed he was when he found out the other Bethlites were, do you know what that sauna is used for? That's where they take the little boys to have their fun. And he was like, really? Yeah, and he was just like, wow, I was surprised to hear that. And then he went off talking about something else, like it wasn't that big of a deal, and now all of a sudden he's dead.
Yeah.
Hello?
But you know what, though? Like I always keep saying, they're going to face the Almighty one day, and believe it or not, when He reveals to them everything that they've done in that organization, nothing's going to be hidden. Nothing. Absolutely every jot and tittle that they've ever done against anybody is going to be brought up, because with God, nothing's hidden. It's all laid out naked before Him. So what if they think they can hide it by killing people and doing all this stuff? If that's what they do, they've got another huge thing coming, because when they face the Almighty, that's it. And I don't want them to have to do that. They need to repent. They need to turn away from this evil they're doing, and they need to repent so they don't face that judgment. But if they keep doing what they're doing and working along with Satan like they're doing, yeah, they're going to face it. They're going to face the Almighty, definitely.
Yeah. That's right. Absolutely. And it's repent, or they'll be condemned to the fiery hell.
Yep. I mean, I don't want that.
They'll burn in the We don't want that to happen. We would rather see repentance any day.
Yep.
It's a mess,
yeah.
my love. It's a mess. But we have to be willing to just face the truth, no matter how scary or ugly, or sometimes, you know, Rick uses the word unbelievable, but it is believable because the truth is always the truth, and reality is still reality, whether or not you can wrap your brain around it. It is what it is, and it is coming out. Remember Luke 8:17, for there is nothing hidden that will not become manifest, nor anything carefully concealed that will never become known and not come out in the open. And that's in the New World Translation, Luke 8:17. And I do believe with Rick doing faithfully what he's been doing for over 20 years, what Constance and Dick are doing, what Kim and Mikey have been doing, bringing out so much truth. A lot of the PMO elders still in the Watchtower, but secretly letting documents slip through and get to Rick and Mike and Kim. It's coming out no matter what. You can't keep secrets forever.
Nope, you can't. And it's all out in the open. You know, like I said, Wade, God sees the whole thing. What they hide from humans, God sees. So, yeah, that's why if that's what they're doing is killing people and stuff, if that's what they're doing, then they're not hiding anything because God sees the whole thing.
Yeah. We just know more and more the stuff that's been going on, stuff that we would not have been able to wrap our heads around maybe 15, 20 years ago. Oh, that's impossible. They would never do that. Well, it's been coming out through stories, different people coming forward. They can't all be lying.
No. And it's sad that, you know, just like recently when Austin, you know, committed suicide, you know, when I heard about that, I mean, I don't even know the guy, and I thought, my goodness, this is bad. This is terrible. I mean,
yeah.
But that stuff happens. You know, you hear about it every so often. Like left Watchtower, they can't cope with their life because Watchtower has damaged them so much so that they just can't handle it. And I don't know. I don't get them to do that, but it's just bad.
I am absolutely. That is right. That it is that serious. It's that counts. That it's. I agree that the Watchtower is evil. It is horrible evil right there.
Oh yeah.
That's why I call it the Watchtower. That's why.
Yeah, the Watchtower. That's neat. Yeah. That makes sense though, and I always say they're a lot like North Korea.
More like Afghanistan, right? More like that.
Because just like North Korea, they want their people to snitch on each other. Oh, if you don't tell the elders, I will. You know, that kind of thing.
We're at the end of people. We're at the end of our show. So if anybody wants to make a quick comment, or if anybody hasn't commented yet, please feel free to make a quick comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a real quick one. Mark Halo, who's a really good friend of Six Screens, he's passed now, but in the early 80s, he told me that he was raped down in Bethel in the tunnels below Bethel. Because I didn't believe him at the time, but I sure believe him now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dick. You always add good points. Okay, any last person want to share one last thought? We're over time a little bit. Was that a real person or somebody from Bethel?
Anne Marie, did you want to end the show now? Yeah. You can go another 4. You can go another 5-10 minutes if you want. We got a lot of people coming in tonight. It's up to you.
Maybe you can call in their area code, and maybe they'll call in.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people on the telephone line. Listen, if you want to speak up before we go to JW World News, now's the time to do it. Hit *6 on your telephone pad. Say hello to Anne Marie. If not, we'll go to the news.
This is Grace from Sweden.
Oh, Grace. Hello, love.
Hello. I was just thinking that we should just that we could talk about this more. That it's not supposed to be shameful. Loneliness and feeling like you want to kill yourself. You don't have to feel ashamed, because it's really normal to have those kind of feelings, even long time after you leave the Watchtower. So we should feel that we're not supposed to feel ashamed. And I think that's a big problem. And also, I was thinking about retirement, because it's almost normal to be depressed when you're retired. And I think lots of women, they talk to lady friends, but I think it's even more so true when it comes to men, that their identity is so connected to their work. Like, I am a man and I work. So, and it's like they have to be strong all the time, and they can't say, oh, I'm feeling weak a period in my life now. They are not feeling comfortable to talk about that I'm feeling weak. So I think we need to allow men to feel weak also, and encourage men to say, I feel weak now, I feel suicidal, I feel depressed, I feel lonely, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. And we need to just encourage each other. And I think also, when you know somebody who is getting retirement, you need to call them, you need to poke them, you need to keep asking, but how are you really feeling? How are you? You want me to come over? Could I bring some food? Maybe a pizza or something easy we can eat, because lots of time depressed people, they don't eat. And so it gets even worse. So, well, I have that from you.
Okay, I would like to close the show now. And I want to thank everyone who called in. I want to thank Dick from South Carolina, and Pixie, and RJ, and Susan. I want to thank Junction Guy, and Constance, and Rick, and Chris from Arizona, out of the organization for over 20 years. I want to thank Diamond Dave, and thank Ken from Michigan. I want to thank Dallas. I want to thank Thomas Hopkins. And lastly, we want to thank our dear sister Grace. I want to thank you all so much for calling in and sharing your thoughts. You make the show. We need to go to our beautiful brother and JW World News. Rick?
Yes, hello everyone. We're going to go to JW World News. You're right, Dan Marie. We're back on video here, and we got some great things coming up on the 6 screens tonight. So you don't want to miss the program coming up. JW World News, that's coming up next. So anyways, let's see if we can't get some things moving in the right direction. I know we had some sound issues. I think that's been cleared up. Well, what it is, folks, when you're listening in on Facebook and YouTube, there's going to be some issues here. We do something that the others don't do, and it can be a little bit confusing and complex at times, but we bring a telephone line into the platform. And if someone on the telephone line is not muted, if they have YouTube playing in the background, or they have a fan going or something like that, it can create a lot of background noise. So I apologize for the noise that was on there. We tried to clear it up. So we'll keep going in the right direction here, but please understand it's a live program. There will be some issues, but I do appreciate it when people do let me know that we are having a sound issue, but it's hard to tell when we're here doing the program. So by all means, let us know. Just come right in and say, hey, listen, there's a sound problem, but don't, wait a few minutes before you do it and try to comprehend what's going on. If it's a real problem, my goodness gracious, by all means, let us know. We'll try to straighten it out. But that's what happens when you're doing things live, like right here on the 6 screens, Tele Network. Well, thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Let's end the stream right here. We're going to go to JW World News. That's coming up next. So stay here with us.
I have a question too while you're changing over here. If you were listening on Facebook or Twitch, would that cause a background problem also?
Well, if they're listening on you, if there's a sound issue, it's going to show up on all these different platforms.
So it doesn't matter which platform they're listening on; they have to turn the sound off.
Right. So that's we're on a number of different platforms broadcasting. So we're going to end it right here. Thank you, though, Susan, for bringing that up, and I want to thank everyone for listening in on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and of course Instagram. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your presence and wanting to spend some time with Anne Marie on Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. All right, let's end it right here. JW World News up next. Stay on this channel.